Welcome to the PBC 2020 NBA Draft Remote Film Room. My name is Jon Chepkevich, Director of Scouting for the PBC, and joining me today is all Big Ten forward Lamar Stevens. What's going on, Lamar?
What's going on, John? Appreciate you for having me today.
Of course, man. With the uncertainty going on in this pre-draft process and you being all cooped up with the quarantine and not really being able to get out there in front of teams and work out in an intimate environment and participate in Portsmouth and all that sort of good stuff. Right. Wanted to try something different here to kind of, give you a stage to show people how you see the game, your basketball IQ, how you make reads, and ultimately talk through some aspects of your game that translate to the next level.
Sounds good. Sounds great to me.
All right, cool. So let's hop right into the film. We're going to start on the offensive side of the ball and some parts of your game that translate nicely to the next level. And the first thing we're going to hit on here is your ability to get out and transition. Right. So we're going to start with this highlight against Bucknell where firstly you snag this board and then you kind of grab and go, get the outlet pass, run the floor. Do you take a lot of pride in being able to kind of like get out in transition and beat your man down the floor to get some easy looks like this?
No doubt. I mean, I think for me, being a player I am, just my size and speed, I definitely love getting out into the open floor and just taking advantage, of a defender that's really off balance. In this particular play, I passed it to Isaiah Brockington, and he's super fast, super dynamic going left. And he made good decisions. So I thought that was a great kick up for him to attack. And I just ran the floor and he kicked it back to me and was able, to get a good dunk.
Yeah, just really nicely executed. And, I really like your kind of versatility to play multiple forward positions and even kind of like slide down to the 5 if you need to, because oftentimes you can have the athleticism and speed advantage against some of these bigger forwards, and exactly like this here, just beat them down the court for an easy look.
Yeah, for sure.
So moving on, what was that?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm definitely, into playing any position. I'm definitely thinking the small ball lineups, I can, definitely excel at the 5. Kind of just be like a little bit like that PJ Tucker type of guy.
Right.
And bring toughness and kind of just bring a different edge, a different look for teams that have to guard.
Yeah, that's where the NBA is moving toward, right? Is guys with your kind of size, athleticism, and skill can be able to play the 4 or the 5, where typically in the old game you would just be like a 3, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This one we just had to throw in there because you got to get the off the glass in transition alley-oop and the real here. So that's just a fun one, but like you get out in transition here, and then you can see the 2-foot explosiveness there. That's just a fun play.
Yeah.
Next here, you get this steal. This one, we kind of show off your handle a little bit and your strength at the end. Do you think that, transition is one of your most comfortable areas of the game where you can really make an immediate impact at the next level with your combination of size, being able to use your handle like this behind your back, and then be able to use your toughness and physicality to get through guys and finish?
Yeah, no doubt. I think for me, just being a player that I am, I think that I can really be dynamic in transition and kind of, I take a lot of pride in rebounding and kind of finding opportunities more to get in transition, whether, it's grabbing a defensive rebound, getting a steal, or getting a block. And I think, that I'm really explosive in transition, and I only can score for myself. But you put me on the team with a bunch of shooters,
right?
Either the lane's going to open wide up for me to score, or I'm going to make the right play. And but yeah, I'm definitely super comfortable in transition. I think, just having the whole floor and having a full head of steam it's hard for defenders to guard or to anticipate what you want to do next.
For sure. And we've seen you make some of those kind of drive and kick reads in transition as well. And I think at the next level, the floor is going to be even more space for you to be able to kind of take advantage of those odd man situations, kick it out to teammates for corner 3s. Now this one's really good with the in and out move. I love the in and out here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is like, what were you seeing was this guy just kind of pressing up on you a little bit here in your secondary break, and you just thought the in and out was the easiest way to get him off balance?
Yeah, I would say that I saw him backing up, so I knew, just a little change in speed, a little change of direction would just give me that little step that I needed to just get in front. And I remember this play. This was right after, I think I just had 1 or 2 dunks before this play. And I was about to, dunk this one, but I remember I was a little winded. But I knew that.
I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna make fun of you for not dunking that one. It looks like you're cocking it back, ready to punch it, and then you just play it in.
Yeah, I definitely was, but I was a safer bet going for the layup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I like to I looked at his feet really, and I saw the opening going right, so I figured a little fake in and out left, his right foot is up,
like right there.
Yeah. And then as soon as he took that little back, that step back, he couldn't recover to that. And I actually played that was my high school teammate. We graduated together.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
You're a Philly guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Was it really exciting for you to kind of be the guy to, take Penn State, being originally from Philly, from Pennsylvania, to kind of stay relatively at home, be able to take that program that's been historically known as a football school and elevate them to basketball prominence throughout your 4 years?
Absolutely. I think, when I look back at, the original decision of why I committed to Penn State was because I wanted to represent, where I was from. Like I wanted to, put a school, in Pennsylvania and, Philly, and I wanted to put that on the map. I wanted to help build that. And I felt like Penn State was just the perfect school in terms of just, equipment and facilities and, high level coaches and playing in a high level league. And I thought that was just the best opportunity for me to kind of, blaze my own path and, start something new. And, Coach Chambers believed in me. And, I felt like this year kind of really put a bow on, my career. It was ups and downs, but I think, Penn State is now on a, trend upwards, and I'm excited about the future.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely left your mark on that program and left them in a way better state than when you showed up. And I think that, there's a lot to be said for that, right? Like it's easy to go into a program that has the historical basketball prominence and kind of just, ride the coattails of that and kind of blend in, but you kind of carved your own path. And I think that, NBA teams will respect what you did there and that you were able to make such a lasting impact on the culture and off the court as well, right?
Yeah. And, that was my goal. That was something I always wanted to help build that culture. I wanted to help Coach Chambers build a consistent, sustainable program. And I think, we're kind of heading that direction. So it's definitely exciting. It's definitely fulfilling.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So as we jump back into the film here, next thing that we're going to hit on here is a potential improvement area on offense. And this is honestly kind of nitpicky. So I know the main area that people are going to say all the time is your jump shooting, right? Like we don't need to really dive too far into that. I think you already know like what you need to do there to kind of tweak that and be able to be a little bit more of a stretch threat as like a stretch four at the next level. One minor thing that stood out in the tape though was you're a really good driver and a strong driver, but sometimes your feet can get a little bit ahead of you on these. So you have some of these instances here where you're facing your guy up and try to give him the little jab and end up traveling on here. For me, as someone who plays basketball all the time, this is one of the most frustrating calls that a ref can make because you never feel like you actually do it.
Yeah. Right.
But, do you want to maybe elaborate on this? And, is this something that has kind of given you some fits and that you can just kind of tweak this footwork a little bit to eliminate a handful of turnovers?
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, like in high school, I never played the perimeter. So like the footwork going into a shot, it kind of just was different for me. And it was it's kind of just was an adjustment for me. And it was something that, even though I still struggle on it, it's gotten a lot better since my freshman year. Just taking your time, making sure your foot is planted or just preparation coming into a shot. Knowing the ball is coming and get a little quick 1-2 tap into the shot. I would say, it's something that, I want to continue to work on. And I think just sometimes, when you have a defender, you get a little excited to just grab and know that they're going the other way, and maybe your feet move a little bit too quick. But yeah, I agree. I think that's something I'm going to continue to just work on and continue to refine. And I think it will just help my game overall.
For sure. And I think it's very minor tweaks, right? It's not anything major, but getting that footwork both on, on these driving opportunities and your jump shooting opportunities. I think if you get with a shooting coach in the NBA, they can really like help you make those minor tweaks, and it'll improve, both your jump shooting and minimizing your turnovers like that.
For sure.
So now on the defensive side of the ball, wanted to touch on some of your strengths here. And this was a particularly unique strength that I don't think you see a lot of players that really excel at this. And this was blocking jump shots and really getting good contests on jumpers.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of these end up being like late in the shot clock. And I think that speaks a lot to your awareness, right? That these players, when they get these shots, it's really their only thing that they can do. And you kind of know that you don't have to maintain that normal disciplined closeout in those situations. You can really go for the block. So this one was off a scramble and an offensive rebound. You want to maybe speak to, what exactly happened here and how you ended up knowing that you could close out so aggressively?
Yeah, I think, we watch so much film at Penn State that you kind of, especially like even guys that you're going to be, guarded up against. And I feel like it's a big difference. Some guys have really good pump fakes that really look just like their shot.
Yeah.
Other guys kind of have pump fakes like, they're not going to shoot this, or they are going to shoot it.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of I got a pretty good sense of that. And, I kind of let them get into their shot a little bit because I feel like I'm quick and, long enough and athletic enough to recover late if they do decide to shoot. So I just knew I had time and just went and contested it a little late.
Yeah, it's almost like a tell in poker, right? Like you're reading the offense. You can tell if they're actually going to shoot it or not. And, knowing personnel and knowing scouting, like you were alluding to, I think that's sometimes can be one of the toughest transitions for players as they move from college to the pros. But to hear that you key in on that so much already at Penn State, I think that'll make your transition to the NBA all that easier, right? That you are already well-versed in that preparation and value the game film, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's just kind of what you get out of like a mature guy that's been in school for 4 years and has seen a lot and been a leader. I think that I'm definitely kind of figured out, and maybe a little bit more than a freshman would, about how important everything is. And it's not just about getting to working on the courts, off the court, watching film and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Got to be well balanced in all those areas.
Yeah,
if you
for
be
sure.
A successful pro, and it seems like you are. So, last section of the film here is a potential defensive improvement area. So like we talked about earlier, you're probably going to end up playing like a PJ Tucker type role potentially, where you're playing the 4 or the 5, kind of undersized sometimes relative to the bigs you're facing. And in the Big Ten, you did get the opportunity to be matched up against a lot of these kind of elite big men, right?
Yeah.
So you do a pretty nice job of that, and you're really good at holding up against their physicality. But one thing that I noticed in digging through the film is sometimes you'd get so focused on combating their physicality that your feet would kind of get stuck in the ground, and every once in a while they'd be able to like leverage a spin move off of you and kind of displace you or dislodge you by, kind of counteracting against you trying to be so physical and hold them off, right?
Right.
So as we go through these couple clips, you'll see this happen a couple times here, right? Like he gives you that spin baseline because you're kind of trying to make sure to hold your ground and stay pat.
Right.
Do you want to maybe elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So not to make any excuses, but I remember this game, we were down. They had us down like 18 in the first quarter. I mean, the first half.
Yeah.
And we battled back. Like, I just remember playing so hard,
Yeah.
Trying to come back and trying to get back. I remember there was a couple times in this game in particular where I would kind of underestimate the guy that I was guarding a little bit, kind of look and not stick to all my principles. And I think that's something that I definitely should kind of get better at, continue to just maintain my focus on anybody that I'm guarding. But yeah, I agree. I think in this situation, sometimes it's not to always just be strong and physical, but move your feet and be smart, and maybe even sometimes pull the chair a little bit
Right.
for a guy that is going to be super physical.
Yeah, and like you are quicker than a lot of these guys, so it's just a matter of flipping that switch between like trying to combat their physicality and then taking advantage of that quickness and kind of opening up and cutting them off, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of similar one there.
Yeah.
And then this one, you do a pretty good job. This time, this is Oturu, who is projected like early second round pick probably in this draft. So you really fight and battle here. This first part of it's great, right? That's as good of defense as you can play in that situation, which is super encouraging. But he just kind of keeps going at you, gets that spin, right? Again, not a huge weakness, but just something to keep in mind because you're going to be matched up against a lot of bigs in the pros. And again, I think this might be Wesson here.
Yeah.
And another elite Big Ten big man that might be drafted, but kind of dislodges you a little and is able to get that little step through up and under.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, a very minor tweak that you're very well capable of covering these big guys and playing up a little bit. But just being able to make that quick switch between the physicality and then kind of moving your feet and recovering, right?
Yeah. And I also think kind of at Penn State, I was a guy that was looked at to do a little bit more of everything.
For sure.
And, when I get to the next level, I think, my everything is really going to be playing defense and taking pride in that and knowing that. So I think that's something that, I'm just going to continue to improve on. I think that I want to really, impress a lot of people at the next level with my ability to guard because, I really don't have to do as much as I did at Penn State.
Yeah, and that's a great point, right? Like when teams are evaluating draft prospects, getting the understanding and accounting for that context is huge, right? Because every program is different and the role that you take on in college doesn't necessarily always parallel directly with what your eventual role will be in the NBA. So you were bearing a lot of offensive burden at Penn State and asked to do so much, and that's taxing, right? That's definitely taxing, and it's understandable to every once in a while not be like 100% engaged on defense. Even if you were engaged, but you know what I mean, right? Like
I know exactly what you mean. It's like, you have to worry about, the other end of the floor so much and being that guy that, sometimes you could fall asleep on defense or, you know what I mean? So I think that, my focus, just working on my focus, keep watching film, keep, finding little things to take advantage of my strengths. And, just using that tool to, just make me more effective basketball player.
For sure. Yeah. And I think you can leverage all of that into ultimately being a really nice role player at the next level that can add value on both ends, take advantage of potential mismatches depending on if you're playing up or playing down.
Right.
That versatility. I think the versatility is going to be your calling card.
Yeah, I think so too.
Cool. Well, hey, that's all the film that I have. So before we wrap up here, like we already alluded to, no Portsmouth, no workouts. Normally you'd be kind of pitted up against other guys that are trying to be drafted and be able to kind of, show out against them and these workouts. And maybe if you were in these workouts, you would shoot pretty well from three and kind of, help show teams that you have that stretch element, right? Like a lot of those things you can't really do right now, but I want to give you the chance right now to kind of speak directly to teams and show them, like, kind of tell them who you are and what you bring to the table. So who is Lamar Stevens? And if an NBA team is to bring you into their organization, what can they expect from you both on and off the court?
Well, I think first you get a mature guy who is, ready to kind of have an impact right away, whether, it's in practice, making guys better, or it's in games. And just, I think for me, I've been a guy that has learned to control what you can control. And, I'm a guy, I work my ass off every day, to become a better player, become a shooter. And I think for me, you're going to get a guy that's going to come in and, do all the right things, like play hard, take charges, dives, be a guy, that knows his role. I know who I am. I know, and I'm comfortable with that. And I want to, just do my role to the best of my ability. And I think that's just something that I've learned over my 4 years, just maturing, just doing everything you can to help win. And, I think that for me, you're going to get a guy who's very versatile. You can, plug me in at a lot of different positions. And as I continue to work on shooting, I can play multiple positions and be effective and be a guy that can rebound and take it in transition myself and make the right play. On offense, be a guy that, I got continuously working on my shot. So, if I don't have a shot, just 1-2 dribbles, make the right play. And I think that's just the player that I would be early on, just a dependable guy that's always ready. And I think off the court, you just have a guy that's very seasoned. I think I've been through a lot playing the Big Ten, winning seasons, losing seasons. And I think that, just my maturity, my my grasp of the game and just everything I've been through. You're going to get a great locker room guy, a guy that's a huge competitor, whether it's on the court or just sprints or in the weight room. I love winning. I love pushing myself to get to the point to be successful and be on top. So I think off the court you get a leader, you get a guy that is a great locker room guy, doesn't cause any issues, and is just really invested in the team. I love winning. I love trying to figure out how to win. So I think that's what you would get out of me.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that a team will sign up for that, Lamar. That's a great attitude, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's to come for you, and we'll certainly be following along with your rest of your pre-draft process and the beginning of your career here. So, congratulations on the great college career, and best of luck going forward, man.
My man, thank you.